the West is finished, and more importantly, America is finished. And one of the reasons why, amongst all the many other reasons, is that the economy is finished. And the reason that the economy is important and why it's important that the economy is finished is because a sign of a country's health is how its economy is doing. Because it's directly related to the quality of life of the people in it. And as we all know, the quality of a country and a country's power is determined by the people that are in it. So, with that being said, let's talk about why the economy is finished. We seem to have this phantom economy going on in America where there's these large bureaucratic organizations filled with workers who are essentially just attending adult daycares because they don't have a role. They just sit there for 8 hours a day and don't do anything. So that's a big piece of it. So as I've said before, when you have these large organizations with only a handful of productive people amongst the many people that are already there, then the people who aren't doing anything are simply there getting in the way of the productive people. And this is where we start to see organizations slow down and become very bloated. And if you have this on a large enough scale, then you'll have an entire country that behaves similarly, which is why we see this kind of slow decay halt of the American economy and the loss of its competitiveness across the world and the loss of its fiat currency as a result of that. Because nobody believes in it anymore, because nobody believes in American production anymore. It just gets shipped overseas. That's why we see the rest of the world coming up now. And there are many people in the workforce who just don't need to be there. Like women, for example. Yeah, I know, I said it. Call me, haha, there goes crazy Mahoganyous Russell again. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna say it again. Most women do not need to be in the workforce. If most of the women that are in the workforce were just doing what they were biologically supposed to do and raising children at home and creating a good environment for the family, then that would free up a lot of space for the more productive people to get things done without pencil pushers bothering them. So there's that. And then there's just many people coming out of college these days who are just incompetent and don't know what they're doing. So that's going to slow down production too, because of course they don't have the skills and the knowledge and the experience to do their job properly or produce anything of value. And not just that, but schools don't teach people how to be creative anymore anyways. You know, everybody can get into college these days. It doesn't mean anything anymore. So you just have these people who aren't creative. They just do exactly what they're told. They're good little robots, just smart enough to do the job, but not smart enough to know what to do on their own. So of course, when you have this increases the amount of pencil pushers within organizations because they need somebody to tell them what to do. And then secondly, there's been a loss in pride, or a loss of the amount of pride in people's work in the West. People just don't take pride in it anymore. In this country I'm in now, for example, I still see there's a real economy here because people take pride in their work. They smile when you enter their place of business. When they produce food, for example, they smile when they give it to you, and they have to make sure that everything tastes good. And they take a lot more time to make the food because they want to make sure that it's of quality. In America anymore, everything is just mass produced. All the fat, that's why we have fast food. That's why we have these large store clothing lines like Gap where they're pumping out all these clothes that look all the same, because everything is mass produced. It's produced for the lowest common denominator. So because everything is mass produced, obviously it becomes a game of quantity over quality, and people don't take pride in that. Why would you take it would be like if I took pride in writing my name on a piece of paper a million times. There's just, why would you take pride in something so generic? It doesn't make any sense. And not just that, but the gumption and the quality of the average human in America has gone down dramatically. And there are many reasons for that. Let's just pin it to cycles of history where, because we just came through a boom cycle, America's been the greatest country in the world for the past couple of decades now. Now we're starting to see the effects of it, where people are becoming weaker and lazier and dumber. And because of that, people don't know how to find purpose in life. And, you know, for most people in history, their purpose in life was raising a family, was taking care of a wife or taking care of children. That was most people's life in the past. And now, because of the wonderful culture of America, families are not encouraged anymore. You're encouraged to stay single. You're encouraged to get a dog as a proxy child. And nobody really has a reason to work anymore. So everybody on a mass scale is just saying fuck it and just basically is out for themselves now, which is why we saw this mass movement during COVID. I think it was called the Great Resignation, where a bunch of people were working their job or leaving their job. And I don't blame them. You know, as a man, why would you want to work for a country that continually turns its back on you and continually tells you that you're not enough and continually tries to emasculate you? So there's that. And those are the main reasons why we see this decline in American productivity. But perhaps another one that is often overlooked is the fact that you can just get free money from the government now, ever since COVID came around. Because as we all know, America is a socialist country, okay? Let's just admit it. When you have around 70%, and I'll put the statistics right here, I'm not just pulling this out of my ass like everybody thinks I do. When you have around 70% of the government budget being spent on social and welfare programs, of course people are gonna abuse it. You can just get free money from the government. And even in this country I'm in here, I had somebody who hosts foreigners for a place to stay and all that, a homestay, or like a hotel business kind of deal. And he told me he's had people who come here and tell him that they're just using government money and traveling around with it and that they're unemployed. What kind of bullshit is this? I'm paying taxes so somebody else can go on a vacation whom I don't even know? Fuck out of here. So, since you can get free money from the government, the people have just become more lazy, more delusional, more entitled. So, of course, and then comes the lack of work ethic with that. People don't want to work anymore, and when they do, they look like they're pulling teeth. Have you been in an average American store these days? Either the self-checkout machine is not working, the bitch in front of the counter doesn't want to talk to anybody and looks at you like you took her soul because she's busy on her phone, probably talking to some guy who's fucking some other girl because she's a piece of shit. And yeah, it's or the store's not clean or something like that. So that's another reason. Money is just so excuse me. The Matrix is trying to attack me. This bio-warfare. So yeah, there's just a lack of work ethic and a lack of people working. So those are the main three reasons why the American economy is just going downhill. And it's a cycle of history, so I don't think there's any turning it around. People are going to continue to be lazy, going to continue to double down on their laziness and vote in socialism. I know it has such a wonderful track record of working in history, doesn't it? So, like I said before, there's no turning it around. So, it's time to get out of Dodge, my friends. Find a culture that you like, respect their laws, learn their language, learn to blend in with their culture. find people who still find a culture that still promotes work ethic and is still proud of their work, and where everybody in the country can trust each other. And there you go. Now you're out.